everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. Today I'm here to show you how to make a card using the wrapped bouquet stamp set and dies, so the wrapped bouquet bundle that is available in the January to June mini catalog from Stampin' Up. I shared this on Blog Hop today, and I want to show you how easy it actually is to make this beautiful card. I know there's a bunch of layers, but the stamp set and dies just make it so easy to make such a pretty card. So I want to show you how to make that card. So let me just switch over to my desktop and we'll get started. All right, so here's the card that I shared on the blog today as part of Blog Hop, and it just is so pretty. Lots of layers for sure, but as I said, the stamp set and dies just make it so easy. I've added in some other dies into this one, but it just makes it so easy to make such a pretty card. So this is the wrap bouquet stamp set. One of the things I love about this stamp set is this kind of background stamp that looks like newsprint. And then there's this really big image as well as a smaller image, and it's a smaller image that we're going to use today. And I just realized that I forgot my Stampin' blocks, so I'm just going to have to quickly grab those. And then the other things that goes with this is these are the dies. So you can see there is this die to cut out, bring the stamp set back in, cut out that image. And then this one will cut out this image. And then you've got all of these flower and leaf stem pieces, and then this piece, it's kind of odd shaped, will cut and score a piece that makes this so that you can wrap your flowers in paper like they would be when you buy them at the grocery store or the flower store. And then one of my favorite things in this set is this tiny little tag, which I didn't use on this particular card, but oh my gosh, it's such a cute little tag. And the For You fits perfectly into it. So let me just grab my block that I'm going to need. Okay, here's the blocks. Okay, now let's get started. So I've got all my paper here. So I will put all of the measurements on my blog. They actually are on my blog, and the link to my blog is underneath this video. So you'll be able to go out and get all the written instructions and the measurements for this card. So this is Smoky Slate, and it's cut 5.5 by 8.5 and scored in half to make your card base. Just give the fold a nice crease with your bone folder. Okay, and then I've got a piece of Gorgeous Grape that is cut 4 inches by 5 1/4, and we can adhere that to the card base using Stampin' Seal. There we go. I've got a piece of basic white cardstock. Now I've gone ahead and embossed this using the Tasteful Textile embossing folder. This is cut 3 3/4 by 5, and I just went ahead and embossed that so that it can go onto the card. There's a lot of cutting on this card, so I thought, well, I'll get something done a little bit ahead. Okay, so that's the card base. Now I've got some Smoky Slate, Gorgeous Grape, Pear Pizzazz. I'll stamp that, and that's extra piece. Okay, so I'm bringing in, these are the stitch shapes dies, and I'm going to bring in and use the largest of the stitch shapes, and I'm going to cut a circle out of this Gorgeous Grape. I'm probably going to have to trim. I've got my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, so I'm just going to trim off because I think it won't, my piece of paper is too big, so let's just trim it down so it will fit. There we go, that'll fit in. That. I love my mini because it fits so nicely in spaces where I don't actually have room. So on my desktop. There, that's that cut. Ooh, that matches my nails. That's fun. All right, not intended. Okay, so now the other piece that I want to cut I've got the Stitch So Sweetly dies. Figure out which size is that one. So it's the second largest of the scallop rectangles. And I'm just going to trim this. And I'm going to cut this from that piece. There's my, nope, on top, it goes there. Oh, everything's moving. Okay, so I've got that piece cut. Oh, and I dropped it. There we go. Okay, those are cut, that's cut. Now, we'll just put this off to the side for a minute because we're going to do a little bit of stamping before we do any more die cutting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Tuxedo Black, and I'm going to use this stamp. Got some gold leafing on it. I'm using the Tuxedo Black Memento because I'm actually going to do some coloring with my blends. And because they're alcohol markers, you want to be using the Tuxedo Black, not the water-based markers. The other thing that I'm going to do while I have, actually I shouldn't have closed that up, while I have this is I'm going to take this big background piece with the newsprint, and I'm just going to do some stamping on the back here to create some interest. And then I'm going to do the same. I'm just going to on this scrap like that. I'm going to do it both sides, and you'll see why. You can do it afterwards as well, but I'll do it while I've got my ink out. When you fold it, you want the newsprint to show on both sides. All right, so I'm just going to trim this because it's going to have to be trimmed to go into my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And while I have my scissors, let's trim these pieces as well. Cut that in two. Here we go. I'm using scraps up of my, this is Pear Pizzazz. Okay. I'm going to trim this. That's what happens when you're kind of not thinking ahead. I should have trimmed my paper because it needs to fit into the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. All right, so now we can take and this, and we're going to use my dies. Okay, so we're going to use this die that cuts out this image and line it up. As best we can. There we go. Gently put this on top. Try not to have it move. There we go. That's that piece. And then I'm going to take this on, and what you do with this one is take this square piece plus the little corner, cut out of it, and we'll just put it on top of some of the newsprint. And when it cuts out, you probably can't see, but there actually, or maybe you can, there are little score lines. So when this folds, you're going to have newsprint on both sides, which is cool. That's that. And then the last thing you want to do is take some, and I'm cutting this out of Pear Pizzazz, we're going to take and cut out some of these leaves that we're going to put behind. And the cool part is they actually cut, like they look like they're a whole stem that goes together, but they actually cut out two pieces. So I think I had one more. Here, let's see if I can get one more piece on here. I'm okay if that one's kind of cut off at the bottom. There we go. So with these pieces cut out. Everything's moving, sorry about that. So you can see that these pieces that look like they're a larger piece actually cut two individual pieces out. I've got two leaves, two stems, and then one of the, oops, the little stem didn't work out, so take your pick tool and just poke it out. If you don't have one of these take your pick tools, they are amazing. I have one here. I have one over by my big Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I have one on my desk because I use them all the time and I always looking for them. All right, so there's my stems, my flowers. Let's get my dies out of the way here. Okay, so I'm going to color. These are Stampin' blends, so I'm just going to take, and you can see, oops, on my card. I colored, I think these are done in, I was trying to figure it out. That's what happens when you do cards in advance. This is the rich razzleberry. So we'll color these big flowers in rich razzleberry. I'm not really going to do much blending on them, although I will go back in and add a little bit of the dark. They're pretty small images to be doing too much blending. But it looks nice if you add just a little bit of the dark Stampin' blend to them. I am using the bullet tip end just because it's easier to control that. So I'm just going to kind of go in and add a little bit of dark in the center and the bottom. And then we'll go back with the light and blend and get rid of the obvious lines. Okay, so that's those, and then I've got, actually I grabbed Purple Posy, so let's use Purple Posy. I'm not sure that that's what I used on the other color. I may have used Highland Heather, or definitely not that, but that's okay. All right, this is pretty color. I'll go back in and add some. So I think on my original card I used Highland Heather as opposed to the Purple Posy. Change up. And we'll go back in with the dark and just add some where there's lines. I'm just going to kind of just going over the line where there is lines that look like shadows. I'm going to put rhinestones on the centers of these flowers, so I'm not really going to worry about doing them, darkening the centers. There. And then these little tiny flowers, I'm just kind of going in and dotting in. This is the dark So Saffron, just to add some color to these little tiny flowers. I'm not doing anything to the stems. I'm not kind of going over them in green. There'll be enough green behind it when you get the Pear Pizzazz pieces that you cut out with the dies. Okay. All right, so that's this. Now to fold this, what you want to do is take your bone folder, and there's a score line kind of down the center, just off center, so we'll give that a score first. And then there is this score line that folds in like that, so you want to fold that in. And then this folds out like that. And I find that glue dots work really well to hold these in place when you get it. And then there's this score that goes like this. So it all folds kind of like that. Get the score with your bone, or crease with your bone folder to hold it kind of in place. And then you pretty much don't have to, but I just find that adding a glue dot underneath this piece here will just kind of hold that in place like that. And then I'm just going to add a glue dot to the back of my flower piece and tuck it down in like that. So now I have a perfect bouquet of flowers. So now it's time to start assembling my card. So the first piece to go on is this smoky slate stamped. This is the one I cut with the stitch so sweetly. And we're just going to, I don't think there's a right and wrong way, but when I had it the other way around, it just looked like it was upside down to me. I don't know if that was true. Funny how, I'm pretty sure there's no right and wrong way. Okay, so now I'm going to just take and add some dimensionals to the back of my, this is the largest stitched shape circle die that I used in Gorgeous Grape. And I'll put him in the middle. And again, some dimensionals on the back of this. You kind of need to watch where these dimensionals, you probably don't want them too high because you want them to be on the stitch circle. And I may actually have gotten some of these a little bit too high, but we'll just go in the middle like this. And then we're just going to take glue dots. So what I tend to do is I just take my pieces and stick them on my glue dot roll. One, it helps me figure out where they are and I don't lose them. And two, then I can just take your pick tool and with the pointy end and just pull them off and put them, just tuck them underneath where I want them, kind of one at a time. Like that. So you could have as many of these or as few of these as you want. I think when I started out with fewer and then decided I needed some more greenery on it. So it really depends how much you want. And that. These just get tucked underneath. Glue dots. There we go. Now, two last things. I have a piece of Pear Pizzazz, and I've got the Pear Pizzazz ink pad, and I'm going to use the Love You. Let me grab enough, so I'm gonna take that off. Okay, so we're gonna stamp. Now I'm gonna cut this out. Ooh. I need to re-ink. I might be using black on this. Let's just see. Oh, that's better. Okay, I need to re-ink my Pear Pizzazz clearly, so that's better. Okay, so then we're just going to take and fussy cut around this. As I said, there is this cute little tag die that goes with the the flower, the wrap bouquet dies, but it fits the For You stamp set and doesn't fit this. All right, so now we're just going to put a dimensional on the back of that. And put it here. And then the last thing, I thought the flowers needed some sparkle. So I've got the champagne rhinestones, and I'm going to just add, I'm going to use the medium ones. And take your pick. Your take your pick tool works perfectly on the putty end to pick up the rhinestones. These rhinestones, as well as the basic rhinestones and the pearls. So it's a great tool. I always used to take it and use the pointy end to grab these, and they would fly all over the place. So if you use the putty end and just kind of pull them off with the putty, it works really well. So another use for your take your pick tool. Okay, and one last thing, because you can never have enough sparkle and bling, I've just got my Wink of Stella, and I'm just going to add some Wink of Stella to each of these, the dark flowers on here, just to kind of give them some shimmer. There we go. Okay. Isn't that a pretty card? Wouldn't you love to get that card in your mailbox? I know I would. And let me just switch back over. There we go. Oops, I don't think I'm switched. There we go. Now I'm switched over. So I hope you enjoyed that. As I said, it's a little bit of a, you know, it's not a hard card to make, but there's a little bit of fussiness to it just because you're cutting out a lot of the pieces from the dies. But oh my gosh, this wrap bouquet, you're gonna love it. You need to put it on your wish list. So I hope you enjoyed that. While you're checking out this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and that way you'll get notified when I post other videos. I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions when you're making the card, please let me know. I'm happy to respond either on YouTube or on my blog. Thanks everybody. Bye.